Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the 5Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Martin115, joined by, as always, my darling partner in crime, Mr. Carmo.
How we doing, everybody? My name's Camo. Welcome back for another week.
Another week, and it is the week. It is the last interview before Scrapper Mania. And realistically, we had to go out with a bang. We already had Mr. Danny Cross on during the week, and Draw Week continues because we are joined by the man himself. He is the former NLW Champion, OTT Tag Team Champion, the gender neutral champion. He's the leader of the Draw. He's the house. He's the money. He runs Irish wrestling. He's the snake, Sammy D.
Hey lads, thanks for having me on. Hell of an introduction.
You won't get that off Dennis.
No. I think my bridges are burnt there.
We were practicing that intro for about a half an hour before, so make sure to get it right.
Practice makes perfect. Well, Sammy, thank you so much for coming on to this interview. Obviously, the time recording this for 2 weeks away, but tomorrow, in technical terms, Scrapper Mania, you're up for the World Championship. So thank you so much for coming on to talk about that.
Pleasure, lads. Thanks.
We'll start this off with yourself the way we started off with everybody else. We're all wrestling fans at heart. Can you remember the first wrestling memory that comes to your head where you started to be a wrestling fan?
It's probably in my head. Wrestling is my first memory, really. And I always try to remember what I saw. But I remember being on the telly one morning. I used to get up on a Saturday morning, religiously watch back to back the 18, back to back Dukes of Hazzard. And then one day I switched over and I just saw, I think SmackDown was on, Raw was on, and I was mesmerized, And that is my first memory in my head that I can vividly remember is just the entrances, the music, the pyro, the costumes, the characters. It's just stuck with me. I was mesmerized.
Can you remember what timeline? Was it the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression?
So it was probably the end of the Attitude Era. I was born in '95, so I'd say I was probably like 5 or 6, so probably like 2000, maybe 2001.
Oh, it's not a bad time to kind of get into wrestling and stuff like that. You're slowly transitioning to the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah, I was unlucky by a couple of years. I missed the good parts, but I made sure to go back and have a look.
Dude, that's one step more than me. I haven't, and the amount of people we've had on there going, you haven't watched this? What? I think I can't remember who we had on, but they gave it out to me because I've not watched in full the ladder match at WrestleMania 10.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's definitely worth to watch. I only watched it recently before I rewatched it before my match with LJ.
Yeah. The NLW for the ladder match.
Yeah. I was lucky in a sense to be around a lot of older heads most of my career, and I was kind of force fed 80s and early 90s wrestling. So very lucky.
What would you kind of base your style off then? More kind of old school wrestling, or?
Absolutely. I think the Ric Flairs is obviously he's the GOAT in my opinion, and I love that kind of style, that slow pace into matches, and Ric Flair, the Arn Andersons, that kind of style I really enjoy. I always enjoyed watching.
And who would you say was like the person for you growing up and watching?
And so I was a massive rock fan growing up as a kid. He was my guy. A lot of people were Austin. I was definitely Rock. So yeah, definitely I love the Rock. And then as I get older, I love watching the likes of Ric Flair and Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, that kind of style.
Oh, Tully Blanchard! Not many people ever say that. With FTR, Dax Harwood, Cash, always, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, they're guys. I've not heard many other people be like, "Oh yeah, Tully Blanchard."
Yeah, I think if you watch, I watch wrestling for different things, but just the way Aaron Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, the way they hold a ring and hold an audience to control, they control everything, And I feel when I'm in the ring, that's the way I like to be.
No, that's literally you're studying, I should say, goats there. Like you got the best like singles person with Ric Flair. You got the best one of the best tag teams in Tully and Aaron. Like that's absolutely like that's a great learning tree there.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's a lot of it's missed lately, or people are watching. Listen, I don't know whatever people are into, but if you go back and watch NWA shows, AWA shows, and I think you can pick stuff out of each match. You can learn something from each show. Them guys were so polished. They were wrestling like 5 6 days a week, and they're getting in there. They were getting in there for 30 minutes to an hour a night. And that's the real profession. That's professional wrestling.
So at what
Absolutely.
point
And you've
then,
seen
obviously
that.
growing up watching the wrestling, watching those guys, did you kind of go, I'm gonna do that and then go and do it?
To me, there was nothing. There was nothing else I was ever going to do. Well, I remember growing up and I said to my grandmother when I was very young. I said, I'm either going to be a professional wrestler or I'm going to be on the Jamaican bobsled team. And and she said maybe go to wrestling. So that's what I did. But I just knew I played all sports growing up. I was lucky, I played football at a good level. I played rugby. I played Gaelic. I played everything. I love sport, and I still do love sport. But I played it all through school, all that kind of stuff. And then as soon as I could go and train, I jumped at the chance. There was nothing else I was going to do. Wrestling has always been and will always be my passion.
So which school
Absolutely.
then, obviously when the time came, did you go, I'm gonna go to that school? And who was like the learning tree at that point?
I was blessed to come across Fight Factory Pro Wrestling in Bray at the time. It was the old NWA Ireland school, and when I went out there, I was 13 when I first walked. 12 or 13 when I first walked. Way too young, very very young. And I went in for a couple of sessions, and I was like, I really want to do it, but I didn't really. At the time, I went and for a couple of sessions and then left it off for a few weeks, a few months, and then I said, no, no, this is what I'm going to do. So 13, 14, and when I got there, I was obviously very young. I wouldn't recommend anyone to start wrestling at that age. It's not good on the body for a person that young. But I was also blessed to have the likes of the Jordan Devlins, um, the Paul Tracy's, the Fergal Devitt's, the Phil Boyd's, the Sean Guinness, the Justin Shapes, all that kind of stuff. But like they were training their years, the Paddy Morrows, they're all training their years, and to be able to walk into that gym and learn from them kind of guys, you can't buy that training, that experience.
And what was the training like? We always ask the lads when they come on, like, what was it like? Especially, I know it's years ago, but like just taking that first bump as well. As they always say, the first bump will make you or break you.
Yeah, I mean, back back then, I think the training has changed over the years, and especially what it is now. Back then, it was very much dojo style kind of wrestling, and it was 4 hours training every Sunday, and then 2 hours twice a week during the week. But 4 hours on a Sunday, you were very lucky to be able to get into the ring, and that was the way they saw it. That you had to um, earn that opportunity to step into a ring. So a lot of your training was out on blue mats on a hard floor, on a cement floor, and it was tough training, But you had to be at a level to be able to get in the ring. That was, I think, a lot of people run before they can walk now. And fundamentals are a massive thing out there. Fundamentals of wrestling and respect was a massive thing. It was a very, very respectful place, and you had to earn the respect of people out there, and it was tough. It was tough training, but the way, and it might be controversial, I think it should be. The wrestling shouldn't be for everyone. It's not a game, and everyone shouldn't get a go. I see wrestling as a major sport, and the people who are committed and the people who are tough and survive and get an opportunity.
Oh, 100%. Because as you said, it's not a game. It really isn't. There's people putting their bodies on the line all over the world for this sport. It is one of, as much as people want to, it's fake and all this shit, it is one of the toughest sports in the world. I mean, you've got guys. It's not like a soft little foam that you guys are landing onto. That is wood, a small bit of fabric, and you are just throwing yourself to it. It is a very, very tough sport that, as you said, not everybody can do it.
Not everybody should do it.
Should do it. Sorry,
Yes.
say the wrong words.
Yeah,
no,
I mean, listen. The matter of fact is, and this is a thing that they drill into out there, is that obviously wrestling, you're in there with another person or two other people or three other people, but if you're not at a level and you can't do it safely and look after someone else and look after yourself, then you shouldn't be anywhere near a wrestling ring. Out there, you have to be at a certain level to be given an opportunity, and I think that's the way it still should be. But yeah, I loved that school in Bray. I loved the people out there, and I loved every second. It was tough, but I loved that, and there was that kind of mentality out there where everyone wanted to be the best, and everyone wanted to be at that level, and people were really, really hungry, and it was fantastic time in my life.
I'll let you ask the question there, Carmel.
Yeah, I was just going to say absolutely. And then I suppose you kind of came out of training, and then you kind of started fighting for Fight Factory and NLW. Obviously, this was way before the scene of OTT and all that kind of came around into where you are now. How was the scene back then, I suppose, even comparing it to now, and how was it even just getting into your first couple of matches?
It was night and day to what it is now, when I started wrestling, when I first walked into that school at Bray, my goal was to have one professional wrestling match. My idea in my head was I could just step in that ring and have a wrestling match. That would be successful. I'm very, very lucky and grateful I've got to do this for 10 plus years, and I've had the experience and the shows that I've been on for the crowds that travel all over Europe and around the world doing what I want to do. But when it comes back to what the scene was like back there, it was very, very different. Smaller shows in community centres and GA clubs and that kind of stuff, We didn't know any different, and we gave the exact same effort we do now, or what I do now, and we loved it, and it was a great opportunity to be able to walk out in front of an audience is always special, and it's always fun. And I remember we used to do the Wolf Tone. The Wolf Tone in Bray was a place we did a lot, and I remember walking out in front of that, probably like I was 15, 16, in front of a crowd of maybe 100 people. And that was, to me, it was like, this is mind-boggling, Then we also, when we started first, we did gym shows, trainee shows, and you have 11 or 20 people sitting in the audience, all family and friends. And that was even, Jesus, that's amazing. And it was all just the lads, family and friends. And to get these opportunities, as I said, we didn't know any different, which is night and day from what it is now. And from what the young lads have now, the opportunities they have and the platform they have is remarkable. And what Joe and OTT and the European scene has built. The lads are very, very lucky. The young lads coming through now are really blessed with the opportunity and the platform they have.
It's literally like almost like a spoil for choice nowadays. Like there is a lot in Ireland at the moment, and thing is, it's awful because there's wrestling fans like myself included who didn't know this was all around. Obviously, Hard Knocks start is brand new now. You've got the Rebel County Wrestling, OTT, Fight Factory, Titanic Wrestling, and more. Like it's absolutely spoiled for choice nowadays compared to when you would have started.
Yeah, I think you know, there's an awful lot of has to thankful for. I'm using my words. Is that social media, you know, and the people that you can put your shows out and advertise and get people to shows, and people like the amount of people that still run into me or find out I wrestle, or and they'd be like, oh, the thing here, you know. So, and what a level it is at now, and
Yeah.
in my eyes, it's all over the place. But you know, it's still we're still introducing Irish wrestling to people all the time, and whenever lads are going out in front of an audience, um, or you know you're put product out online or on social media, you're going to hit a number of people that don't know what's happening. So you really need to put your best foot forward and try bring them casual fans, because the amount of people I know that still watch the Royal Rumble every year and still watch WrestleMania every year, and they don't watch any other wrestling, but they watch them shows religiously, like the Super Bowl, you know. And I think what our goal should be is to bring them all back to live wrestling, because there's no show, in my opinion, like a live professional wrestling.
100% agree with you. You know, I always tell you know, the first time I started going to live shows was like my first like live show was the Takeover in New Orleans, and then I went to Mania. But like, it is such a different experience being involved in these shows, you know, and I think people are just as bad as I was. You know, we know there's Irish wrestling, we know it's there, but you just think it's this, you know, not as perfect, kind of like nothing compared to the WWE stuff. And then you go to it and you go, oh God,
It's better.
this might be
It's
better.
actually better.
You know, like Carmo took us to the Irish School of Wrestling shows, the first time I ever seen Irish wrestling in August. And I literally was just blown away because you have this perception that it's not going to be as good, lots of mistakes, this, that, the other, and then you're just, this is my life now. I'm going to be paying attention a lot to this, and I guarantee you, there's a lot of people out there who the exact same.
100%. And I have friends, you know, that and one of my oldest friends, he came to a gym show in Bray when I was maybe 14, 15, and there was 16 people in the audience in the school in Bray, and he hadn't seen me wrestle since, and he came to one of the shows, one of the OTT shows recently, and he was like, he said, Sam, I thought we were still in the gym in Bray, you know, and and that's one of my closest friends, you know, and no fault in them, but what I would say to people, and if you know people that are, if you have friends or you know people that are into wrestling or have been into wrestling, recommend they go to a show, you know, and because I have people that come up to me all the time. They say, you know, I only come to an OTT show last year, and they've been at every OTT show since. You know, because it's like it's you go to a live event, a real live event, or you know, it's massive. But Irish wrestling, I think, should always be intimate and have that feeling that you are a part of the show. I think that's what we all should be striving for: is that the people that pay to see the shows, come to see the shows, support the shows, are a part of the show and feel involved. And I think that's what separates us from mainstream wrestling on television.
One of the biggest examples I
100%.
give to people as well at the moment is Homecoming. You know, when Eddie Kingston was advertised and obviously couldn't make it due to Jay's passing and stuff like that. And there was people in front of us. They still came. It was their first show. And I remember your man turning over to the person he was with going, this is really, really good. This is not what I expected. You know, and they're kind of smiling going, that was me. Literally a couple months ago, that was me.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're gonna go to Scrapper. Now they're gonna go to every show afterwards. You know, it's just get to that first show, be in the crowd, experience it.
And it's a bit of crack. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's a show. It's a variety show. Have something for everyone. And I mean, it has something for everyone. There's people that go to shows and they bring their girlfriends, and they bring their boyfriends, and they bring their, their cousin who like doesn't really like. Oh yeah, I'll just go. It's Friday night, and they come back religiously because there is something on the show that they took from and walked away. I love that part of the show. Or, I love the Session Martina, or I love Be Cool, or I hated Sammy D. Is mostly what happens, and you know, and that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to, especially after the pandemic, it's more important than ever to get out and support entertainment and any kind, sporting Irish teams, anything like that. If you can get to, but if you can get to an Irish wrestling show and you have people around you, I can't stress enough to bring them, because I can guarantee 100% they'll come away. I'm going next month.
100%. I'll let you go,
Yeah.
Caramel.
I just want to cut back a small bit, back to your Fight Factory career. So one of the first major titles that you actually won, and I think you were the inaugural winner, was the junior heavyweight title for Fight Factory. Obviously, you're still fairly early in your career and everything like that. Like, that's a big, big moment, especially early in your career, and to become the first of that champion.
It was crazy, So me and Be Cool, me and Barry we trained together from a very young age, Barry's maybe a year or two older than me, 2 years older than me. And we were always, kind of head for head all the time. And I remember they brought the Irish Junior Heavyweight Championship down to the school, and they said we're crowning the first Irish Junior Heavyweight Champion at whatever date it was. And so we want to see who wants it more. And it was always going to be me or Barry. We were thereabouts, unfortunately, everything in Barry's career is that I'm just a little bit better. No, in all seriousness, it was a special moment for me. I was 17 years old. I won it in Wicklow Town, and Wicklow Town, I can't remember the name of the hall. I think it was St. Patrick's GA Club or something like that. And I won on a Sunday, and I had double science the next morning in school. And I remember going, I'm the Irish Junior Heavyweight Champion. I don't need to be sitting in double science, And that's kind of the way my schooling career went from there. I said,
should have just had the belt walked in, like, yeah, lads, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I retire, But no, it was special for me. It was special, obviously, to win at such a young age and be the first ever Irish Junior Champion. I think being the first of anything is crazy, and it was an honor for me at the time. And it's still going strong. It's still a strong championship in Ireland, and it's great to see it elevate young talent still, and it did me.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned there, I suppose Be Cool. Obviously, you trained with Be Cool, you beat Be Cool. Like, when you got called up to OTT then as well, obviously you started the gymnastics with Justy, where you went on a massive, massive run through, I suppose, before COVID until the start of COVID, where you ended up winning the OTT tag team titles as well against the King of the North. How was it, I suppose, training that long alongside Be Cool and then becoming tag team champions with it?
Me and Barry know each other inside out, and as I said, we've trained together since we were kids, and to have that moment for OTT and win the tag team championships, and we were both so young as well. It was special, and we were on a fantastic run, and that pop that night, I'll never forget it, and I'll never forget the reaction. We won their belts, and again, it was a special moment to share with Barry, and because we both worked very hard together with OTT, but prior to OTT, so it was, me and Barry have wrestled each other. 100 times, more from kids up. As I said, sure inside out. So it's special to have that moment. It's definitely one I'll never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose I'm just going to cut on, I suppose, a little bit then as well, because obviously just within the last couple of months, obviously you fought Be Cool again, which was for the NLW Championship in OTT, which is obviously Be Cool's retirement match, which is another, again, special moment. Obviously, I suppose, teaming so long with him and being part of the gymnastics to then retiring Be Cool. Like, what was the kind of the mindset even going into the match? Was it just head in, get this match done, get the win, and let it be what it be?
I feel since the gymnastics, when the gymnastics first split up, our careers went different ways, and I can't knock Barry for what he's achieved in OTT, but maybe I saw that I should have been, maybe a little bit higher on the card than Barry. And people love Barry and Be Cool, and he's very talented in what he does, but I don't think, as I said to you before, I take wrestling very seriously, and I think at times Barry can not take it as serious, and I think that's where we differ. So going into that match, I definitely had a point to prove, and a point to prove to myself, and I walked away with the win. Unfortunately for Barry, he put his career on the line, and that's where the cookie comes, unfortunately. And in this business, you have to be ruthless.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was a great match and everything like that. And I think people obviously didn't expect Barry to maybe go out that way. But like as you just said, there was all you had your job to do. You had your title on the line. You weren't going to lose it.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we both know. We all know, I should say, that wrestling has and always will be about wins and losses, and championships. And Barry died in the side that night,
Absolutely.
It was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But
he was in the wrong place. He's in the way of the snake.
But obviously, then when you retired Be Cool once and for all, Jay kind of stepped in and looked to kind of step up for Be Cool after everything, and that goes into my favorite OTT match between yourself and Jay at Fight 'Em All, and of course, again, who comes up with the win? Yourself. What was that match like? It's like I spoke with Danny, and it's again he had so much praise for that match, but like just the thought process going into everything. It was absolutely. It was, as I said, my favorite OTT match.
I didn't say that, but I think I always liked Jay, and I always thought he was very talented from the first time I saw him wrestle, and I thought he was underutilized, and he was maybe the support act to Be Cool, and Barry has that effect on people. He has that. Barry is the main character of his story, but he likes to bring people around him to support him. And that's fine. That's what Barry does, and I've been there. So when I saw it happen to Jay, of course Jay thought he was doing what he thought was right and defending Be Cool's honor, but I think I wanted to make sure that he was at the level he is, and that night when we stood in the ring, I knew he was the man for the job, and then he brought it. But unfortunately, he wasn't good enough to beat the snake that night. But we'll get him there.
Give him a bit of time, but as you said, you have been there before, where Danny Cross was with Be Cool, and obviously, you go back a bit. Start of the draw, Road to Scrapper last year was Charlie Sterling versus Big Damo, and obviously you had just had your match previously teaming with Renzo Rose, You come out later in the night, stand there at first. Everyone kind of thought maybe you're going after Charlie, and then things happened. And then the very next night, Mr. Adam Flex turns his back on the Kings of the North. What was like to pick Sterling and Adam? Was that always, were they two guys you were always keeping your eyes on?
Of course, I mean, I know Charlie since I'm 18. I went over to the UK and met Charlie, and we wrestled for 10 weeks straight every day for 10 weeks straight. And I mean, there's no one to the Charlie in the ring, and then you have Adam Axe, who's just a specimen. He's so underrated. He's fantastic in the ring. He is he's super talented. These guys, I mean, again, I think it was just the matter of fact is that I know I want the lads in the draw to flourish. I want them to succeed. Obviously I am the leader of the draw, but I want them to excel in the best way they can in professional wrestling and Irish wrestling. And at the end of the day, before the draw was around, we were underutilized, we were underused. I'm not beating the dead horse. We didn't get our shot, we took our shot. When the draw came together, there was no one doubting us. There's no one doubting us now. I'm going to Scrapper Mania to compete for the world, the OTT World Championship. 2 years ago, that wouldn't have been a thing, And it's, sometimes in life, you have to take the bull by the horns, and you have to forge your own path, and that's what we did. That's what we have done. Look at us on the NLW champion. The boys are the tag team champions. Danny Cross is the GN champion, 2-time GN champion. This is just, we've done what we set out to do, and we are an absolute, we're a unit, we all have.
Absolutely, 100%. I suppose, as you said there, with Danny Cross joining the group, that obviously leads us into the 8-year anniversary. And as Martin just spoke up there about, I suppose, Danny Cross trying to defend the honour of Be Cool, you also had Joker Bray obviously trying to defend the honour of Be Cool. And obviously yourself and Joe had a bit of a history going on over the last couple of months before that. And all along, you said that you'd walk into that ring and you'd step on his head, and you just did, and you did that exactly. But how did it feel, I suppose, with Jay coming out then, Jay joining the draw, and then the draw kind of flourishing from there?
As I always do and always have, I always have a plan. I never walk into a match without plan B, and Danny Cross plan B that night, to go out there and to embarrass Joker Bray in front of his audience was something that was a long time coming. Me and Joe have had a strained relationship for a while, and excuse me, I think I put Joe back in his box.
But standing in the ring after, obviously, you outsmarted Joe. There's no going about it. Joe got outsmarted that night. Jay coming out, all that stuff, and the crowd was just deafening between just when it happened, the stunned silence to everybody realizing, booing the absolute hell out of you guys just to get to stand in that ring, look down at Joe, look at the crowd, and go, "I got you all."
I mean, yes, listen, like people think I hate the OTT crowd, and it's far from it. I love the OTT crowd. I love the Irish crowd, but I love winning more, and I do some things maybe that people don't agree with, and the draw do things that people don't agree with, but I have Irish wrestling's interest at best interest at heart, and I can honestly say that. And listen, I think obviously me and Joe have a relationship, a working relationship. We have to work alongside each other. and he knows that the draw is best for business. And, again, there's two sides. There's two sides to that. Joe agreed. Joe wants to rip my head off as much as I want to do his, and you can't sit around afterwards and pretend to be the victim.
Now, obviously, you got the one up on Joe that night, but then we go into the Christmas party, and I'll let Mr. Carmo, who got very disappointed that night, take it over from here.
Yeah, so obviously you got put into the match with LJ Cleary, and then it's a special guest referee, and then you obviously had Martina, you had Joe, and then the final return of Be Cool. Did you feel like you were being nearly set up in terms of that match? That it was all cards stacked against Sammy D?
I think they knew what they were doing. Obviously, the last person I expected there that night was Be Cool. Of course, it's gonna knock me. As I've said in this interview, is that me and Barry have a long history, and I don't think sitting here now that we're finished. I know he's finished with OTT, but that night when he came back and he cost me, I don't forget. I don't forget things, and of course that was a blip. That night I lost the GN Championship, but as always,
Plan B.
Plan B.
Obviously, Jay coming out. LJ had just won the match. Jay comes out, brings in that briefcase. First, obviously, Barry was like, nah, they're not cashing that in. They think they've got the one up on Jay. But again, Plan B. Jay takes that GN title away from LJ Cleary, and the draw, not even once again, as always, on top. So,
On top. Yeah, and this is the thing, is that I'm seeing it more. I'm seeing it more and more. I'm seeing there's more and more people that are coming around to the fact that of course, at times we do stuff that is questionable, but like, we all want to be winners, and I see it more and more now that the draw maybe aren't the bad guys were made it to be, and maybe we just want to be on top. We just want to be the champion, and God knows there's been some dead wood around for a long time. We want to run OTT, and we want the best for OTT. We want the best for us.
I'll let you go.
Look, just before we kind of head into the road to obviously Scrapper Mania, which is coming up, I just want to drift off a little bit, and I want to talk to you about Hard Knocks. Obviously, Hard Knocks Racing, and you fought in recently, where you fought against Steve Savage, where Steve Savage no longer can fight in Limerick. And like, the two of you had one of the greatest matches that I think I've ever seen. One of the hardest hitting, one of the weapons, chairs, that Angus or that Olympic slam off the balcony in Dolan's. You said it to me that night that Steve just wasn't on your level. And that seems to be the case a lot of the time. But again, it's Sammy D, and you need to win every match. You're defending that title.
Yeah, I mean, that's not knocking Steve, and it's not knocking. And when I say that about people, you have to understand that I live and I breathe wrestling. I live this. I love it. I'm doing this longer in my life than I haven't been. I'm wrestling longer in my life than I haven't been wrestling. That's an insane thing to say. This is all I've done. This is my life. There's a hunger I have that not many people have, and I need to win, and I need to be the best. So when you're saying you're not on my level, my level's pretty high. I'm there's you have to have a hunger like me to beat me. Listen, of course, I've been bet you can beat me, but I have to be having an off night, because 99% of the time you're gonna struggle.
But I'll keep it on that match, because It was an absolutely brutal match. As I said, there was chairs involved. There was a kendo stick, which now lives in my house. Thank you very much for that one. It was a brutal match that, Steve gave his absolute heart out. But at the end of the day, you retained your title. You beat Steve Savage. Steve Savage can no longer compete in Limerick. Was it how did that win? How did that match feel for you? Was it just straight mindset of he put up a fight, but you can't beat the snake?
Listen, as I said, I knew going into that match, it was exactly what it says in the tin. You're going against Steve Savage. It's going to be a fight in Dolan's warehouse in Limerick City. I knew exactly what I was walking into. Steve brought it that night. He did, and but at high stakes, when it really comes down to it, stuff's on the line. That's where I thrive. I think that's where Sammy D thrives. There's no one on this island that can do it at that level for in them matches, big matches, like me, and I've proved it. And Steve walking in there, putting his career on the line, like Be Cool putting his career on the line. It's a massive risk when you get in there with me, because when I was to defend the championship, I'm going to do everything to defend that championship. I love being the best. I love being a champion. I love being the main event, and I love carrying the company. That's what I want to do. I want to be the man. So you can put your career on the line. You can bring me to your hometown, and you can bring weapons, bring whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I'm just have this hunger. It's very, very hard to beat me when I'm 100%.
The one constant though with Hard Knocks and yourself for us is, unrivaled. You obviously fought Terry Thatcher. You threw him into the merch stand, put on a T-shirt, threw it out to the crowd. He caught the T-shirt, and it now sits in his house. Unbroken, I walked away with a kendo stick. So thank you for all these little bits of memory.
I look after you, boys. I look after you,
And we appreciate it a lot.
The draw, Sammy D, always looking after us. Just saying, guys.
Always. Lads, are we okay to edit this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just grab a glass of water?
Work away.
I'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah, take your time.
You're thinking that this is a clean break. You don't need to edit this at all.
I'm actually going to leave all this in now.
Yeah, then I fucked you.
43.
Yeah, we'll get into the run to Scarborough in a minute.
Stop rubbing your microphone.
Huh?
Stop rubbing your microphone.
I know.
I was literally there trying to text you, stop rubbing the microphone.
I'm very bad with my hands. And because I normally use the big microphone, I'm so used to actually playing with it and not having any effect.
Because I was there trying to text you there, stop rubbing the microphone. But I couldn't find your name on Messenger quick enough, and you eventually
I wouldn't have seen it anyway. I don't even know where my phone is. Oh, I'm using my phone, sir.
I just realized I can pause.
You can or you can't?
I can. Now, obviously, there's been some issues for you in the ring. Not for you, but for this person in particular. And we had him on there a couple of weeks ago, and we had brought you up in conversation. So Mr. Dennis Murphy has been getting absolutely bullied by yourself in the ring. And we had Dennis on, and Dennis spoke about, he feels like there's definitely something for you that you're trying to get out of him, that you feel like because you got over with the waistcoats and stuff like that, there's maybe a bit of jealousy there.
I think Dennis maybe rates himself too highly on my mind. Listen, I've no problem with Dennis. I just to be honest, I just fuck with him a little bit, and I think he comes out in his fancy waistcoat and he gets his little cheer for his fancy waistcoats, and that's nice, But if I can I can ruin someone's party, I'm gonna do that, and poor old Dennis is the point of my jokes sometimes. But listen, Dennis is all right, But if he had a real problem, he's had an awful long time to maybe man up and do something about it. So that's all I'll say about that.
What would you say was the funniest thing you did to him?
When he got that really fancy waistcoat for Christmas,
Oh,
and I put my hand up and I pulled it, and I felt one button pop like on the lightest pull, and I went, "Sorry,
ripped it
pal."
right off.
It was like kitchen roll. It just split in two. Like that's what you get, He's getting his chance for his fancy waistcoats. He's obviously buying them like in bulk from China or something because they're dreadfully made. The waistcoats I wear, or the clothes I wear, they don't rip at a touch. So maybe Dennis needs to invest in some waistcoats that can withstand a light pull.
A funny one about that as well. A lot of people thought that was like a kind of a weak waistcoat, as in terms like almost like made to be pulled off, But Dennis said it wasn't. So that just goes to show, like, don't wear a waistcoat around Sammy D.
Yeah. I like to be the best dressed in the room. That's my ego.
Don't outdress me.
Yeah. No, listen. Like, again, like whenever me and Dennis, whenever happens to me and Dennis, just happened one time, and I think a long time back, I went to ask for the microphone. He dropped it, did something, and it stuck with me. We're in for it now, Dennis.
So
Every
realistically,
time
this
I
is
walk in
Dennis's
the ring,
fault.
100%. It's certainly not my fault.
Not fair. No, that's very, very true. But like now, Dennis isn't obviously the only person with an issue with yourself, a very not very recent one, but a person who obviously has a big, big problem with you at the moment, Mr. Trent Seven. We've seen the build up to Wolvers homecoming. Obviously, then that's led into, as we'll talk about a little bit later on, Scrapper Mania. But Trent seems to be a big, at least have a big issue with yourself.
Trent, to me, is what Irish wrestling needs to get away from. Trent went away, like many lads, collected a paycheck, phoned it in, worked every now and then. We're happy as Larry to do this. They're happy as Larry to work every 6 weeks in a 6-minute match, and collect their paycheck and post on their Twitter how great they were. But at the end of the day, when it all went tits up, they all come back and say, "No, we're coming back, and we're gonna resurrect OTT, and we're gonna resurrect Irish wrestling, and resurrect British wrestling." Irish wrestling doesn't need to be resurrected. The Irish wrestling fell on me, or fell on the lads that were here to keep it going. And for him to walk back in, I think he walked back into a title picture, or walk back into a world title picture, or walk back in and stand in my way of the world title, he is 100% wrong. This is what annoys me about Trent Seven is the Trent Seven show. It's all about Trent Seven. I'm about Irish wrestling. Of course, I want to be the OTT World Champion. I want to be the best in this country, but I want to elevate Irish wrestling. Trent Seven wants to elevate Trent Seven, and that's the way it has always been and will always be. So that's my issue with Trent Seven. I'll go to Wolves, and Mark Morris, I will beat him the night before Scrapper Mania, and I will walk in Scrapper Mania, and I'll beat O'Mari, and I will bring the OTT Championship back to Ireland again on an Irishman's shoulder. That's a fact, and that's all I have to say about Trent Seven. Sorry, I'll be there.
No, you're grand. Now, I know you want to just get off from there, but I have to bring up when the draw went to war in Wolverhampton and homecoming. What a war. The draw versus the Wolves. Obviously, it was more the draw got more out of taken out of it, obviously, with Danny Cross taking a head injury and concussion, and Adam literally broke his bollocks.
Yeah, tough night for the draw. Listen, you go to Wolverhampton, you walk into the hangar. To put it in perspective, it's a tough place to go. You know, whatever about walking out and getting booed in Dublin or Belfast, and you go there, there's a real hatred for us, and of course it can get into your head. I'm not saying it's the reason we lost that night. And fact of the matter is that we had them two injuries, and we had them two major injuries during the match, and that affected us, affected our team. And when I looked at it, when he drops down, two lads drop in your team, and it's 4-2, of course it's going to be tough. The lads won, the Wolves won, and fair play to them. But at the end of the day, we showed up in that show, and we made sure we left an impact when we left.
I feel like the winner of that night was not the draw, was not the Wolves. It was IKEA or Home Base were the winners that night with the amount of stuff that was used.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing as well. It's you go into these matches, you don't know what's going to happen, and the things like that. They look at Danny Cross and put it on the line. That shows what Danny does for the draw. He brings that aspect of the uncertainty and that bravery. And listen, he's concussed, 10 or 12 stitches in his head, and Max said literally broke his bollocks. So yes, we lost and Wolves, but we didn't go out there. We didn't lose without a fight, and we as I said, we left a substantial impact on the lads and on the Wolverhampton crowd, I think.
And I'll let this transition over to Karma now with this one. But obviously, it was a rough start that turned into the draw, getting the W in Dublin. Then yourself getting the W in Belfast, becoming the number one contender. And I'll let this transition to Karma now with Road to Scrapper.
Absolutely. So we're heading into Road to Scrapper. March 18th, National Stadium, Scrapper Mania. Tomorrow, as this episode comes out. How important, I think, is that match against O'Mari for the championship for you? And how important, I feel, is it for you to bring that title back to an Irish wrestler?
March 18th in the National Stadium will be the biggest match of my career, hands down. There is no bigger show on this island, and there's probably no bigger show in European wrestling than Scrapper Mania. Not probably, that's a fact. It's been 4 years since there's been an Irish OTT champion, and I think it's time for a new era of OTT where the Irish lead the way again. I'm the man for that job. I fully wholeheartedly believe that I will go into Scrapper Mania. I will beat O'Mari. I will become the OTT World Champion. I will become the first ever OTT Grand Slam champion. I've won everything in OTT, and I will bring this company forward into a fantastic time, a bright future of Irish talent, and where Irish wrestling thrives again. It's been a tough time for Irish wrestling since the pandemic, and of course it's back and it's great. But I really, really feel that we can level up again, and that's what I want. I want to bring OTT and Irish wrestling across the island to the next level. And that's my real goal.
Absolutely, 100%. And as we just spoke there about how important that night is for you, but overall, how important is that night even for the draw? Obviously, Adam and Charlie and Adam are defending the tag team titles. Jay is defending the GN title. So all the titles are on the line. How important is it to keep a hold of every title?
So as our goal was always to be the draw to run OTT, you know, and the way we saw that was for the draw to have all the marbles, and you know, and the way it's looking is that we walk into OTT with every major championship other than the World Championship, and I will beat Amari. I've no doubt in my mind, and we will walk away, and we will run with OTT. There'll be no doubting that we run OTT when we have every championship around our waist. And that has been our goal from the get go, and it's not many the plan comes to fruition, and we achieve what we set out to do.
100%, and I am 100% confident. I said this to Danny when he was on. The draw will be on top of Irish wrestling when you take this OTT world title from Omari. Danny retains his title, and Charlie and Adam get the job done, and then all power is in the draw's hands.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing Joe could do at that point then.
I think let me put it this way. I think after Scrappermania, as I said, a new era begins. The era of Irish wrestling, and where we don't rely on the imports, we don't rely on the guys who just there's nothing better for them to do. We rely on the people who want to be in OTT. We rely on the people who love OTT. We rely on the people who love Irish wrestling, and we rely on the people who want to drive this product forward. And this is my passion. That's what I want to do, and that's what I will bring as OTT World Champion.
And from all the 5Marks, because we all support the draw. I've got the jersey, he's got the top, Emmett's got his merch. We know the draw is going to bring it home that night, and we don't even need to wish you luck. Like, it's done. It's set in stone. Like, you don't need to luck at all.
Set in stone. You know me, in that big fight feel. It's Super Bowl season for me. I'm sitting here. I'm cool, calm, and collected. I'm ready to go. And
can't wait for it, obviously. And for the people listening, you don't have much time left, but there's still time. Go Eventbrite, OTT, get your ticket, get to Scrapper Mania, and see Mr. Sammy D become the new OTT World Champion. Just go do it.
Do it. Don't even question it. Just buy your ticket. Go along. You will not regret it at all.
But
Sammy, I have one more question for you before we lay it off. Once it's all said and done, Scrapper Mania is all over. Belfast show is all over. The draw hold every title. Is it celebrations in Marbella?
yeah. We'll see. There's going to be celebrations. There's going to be celebrations all weekend long. That's what the draw do. The draw work hard and they play hard. That's what we do. But there'll be celebrations of Wolves when I beat Trent 7. There'll be massive celebrations in Dublin when I beat O'Mari, and whatever naughty jobber I beat on the Sunday, there'll be celebrations there too.
Can't wait to go off and party with the draw. Can you, Carmo?
No, not at all.
Everyone's a boy.
Don't know the days.
But Sammy, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we wish you the best of luck at Scrapper Mania. You're going to take the belt home and bring it back, as you said, to Irish wrestling. It is going to be a hell of a weekend for Scrapper Mania.
I appreciate it, boys. Appreciate the support, and look forward to seeing you at Scrapper Mania.
100%. But ladies and gentlemen, Carmo, you know I love making you do this outro every damn time for the people.
You do indeed. Sammy, thank you again so much. I can't wait to see you take that title off of Mario at Scrapper Mania. But for this week, ladies and gentlemen, we have been the 5Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, and we are officially ding, ding, done.
Love it.